parable of the sower. It comes up in Matthew 13 in the Bible. Matthew 12 sees Jesus healing and preaching and teaching and challenging, not just in places, but on the move. When he's walking, he does it wherever he is. Matthew 12 ends with his mother and his brothers turning up saying they want a word with him. And yet Jesus says, no, my family are all those that are my disciples and follow me wherever I go. And it is with that Jesus then goes on to teach the parable of the sower in Matthew 13. Matthew 12 ends with what looks like a really busy time of ministry for Jesus. When you look at the Gospels, normally after Jesus has a busy period like this, he goes away on a mountaintop or somewhere on his own to go and pray. When Matthew 13 starts, it says that Jesus walks out and he sits by a lake. It sounds like he's going to try and have some time alone to pray. But straight away in verse 2, we're then told that people start turning up, and it's not one or two people. There are crowds of people that are starting to gather. And there's so many of them gathered that he can't talk to them while sitting down next to the lake. He has to get on a boat, row out onto the lake and talk to people. And it's in this boat on the lake that he tells the parable of the sower. He's just been walking through farm fields, and it's with this imagery in mind that he uses to tell the parable. A farmer went out to sow some seed. Some of the seed just fell on the path and it was straight away snatched up by birds and eaten because it was on display. Some of the seed went onto the rocky soil. It only had a little bit of soil and it grew quickly, but there were no roots and it withered and died. And then there's some of it was good in good soil and grew really well, but there was weeds and thorns and it choked the life out of the plants and they died. Some fell on really good soil and they didn't just produce a crop, but they produced a crop 100 or 30 or 60 times more. And it was at this that Jesus stopped speaking. And it was at this, I presume, Jesus simply just rode away. A little time later, the disciples said to Jesus, "What on earth was that parable all about?" They did that a lot. And Jesus patiently explained it to them. He did that a lot as well. And this was his explanation. He said that the seeds were the kingdom of God and that they'd scattered everywhere. And that some people are like the path where the seeds get scattered, but the birds eat them away, which means they hear the good news, but before they can accept it in their hearts, it's taken away from them. Some people are like the people who have the good news, but it's spread on the rocky soil. And simply that means they accept the good news with joy, but it has no root in their lives. And before it can really grow into something amazing, when they hit a tough time, it withers and it dies. For some people, they hear the good news and they accept it with joy, and it grows and it grows and it has roots, but it grows between thorns and weeds. And actually what Jesus says is these thorns and these weeds choke the life out of them. In real life, it's the deceitfulness of wealth and it's the worries of everyday life that can destroy and choke the life out of people, can kill their faith and stop them from being fruitful. But some people have their seeds grown deep into their hearts. They take deep root, and it's with those people who don't only accept the word, but apply the word, understand the word, and do it for the love of God, will they see fruit in their lives. After this, Jesus almost didn't feel the need to explain anymore, and he simply started telling the disciples more and more parables.